started 2 weeks ago talking about Cockpit, you know, that this comes through only one man. He has gone far and wide when it comes to the issue of aviation program and events in so many parts of the world. He also doubles as estate surveyor and valuer. He don't want to be called an aviation expert. He prefers to be called an aviation freak. A non-aviator that teaches pilots what they need to know about the airplane. Talking about Mr. Godwin Ike. That's his profile on the screen. That's his telephone line, his email, his website, his YouTube channel, as well as his Twitter. Yes, even the telephone line, you can beep him using your WhatsApp. Okay, now come back. Very good morning to you, and welcome to this morning.
Good morning, Joe.
You look very, very expensive.
Expensive?
Expensive.
I am all made in Nigeria. You see, from head to toe, all made in Nigeria.
Certainly not the toe. Certainly not the leg.
Joe might say Happy Workers Day.
Yeah, we'll come to that.
Okay, I will admit that this one is not made in Nigeria.
Okay.
But everything else on me is made in Nigeria.
Okay, I'll then accept. Happy Workers Day.
Yeah, same Joe. Same Joe. And my great viewers, please welcome to the program.
Workers' plight. Even those in the aviation industry, even those in the aviation sector, their concern is increase in wages.
Joe, let me quickly address that and tell you what I know about economics. If we don't do the issue, or rather don't handle the issue of increase in salary carefully, we'll end up putting workers in a worse situation. If you pump in money that's not backed by commensurate economic activities, you just create inflation. You find yourself in a situation where you get all the hundreds of thousands and all the million and then spend them, you know, in commensurate fashion because inflation is there. It's just like saying to you, are you better off that you're earning 10,000 naira, for instance, and you are able to buy a bag of rice, just as an example now, for 1,000 naira. And then somebody suddenly offers you an income of 100,000 naira, and you need 90,000 to buy a bag of rice. Were you better when you were earning 10 or when you were earning 100?
So from what you are saying,
no, give me an answer to that. Give me an answer to that.
No,
were you better
off
when you were earning 10,000? So, having said that, and having admitted that it's not only about having volume of cash in the hand, it's about the value of the cash you have.
The last one, quickly.
Yeah.
The issue is really, from what you are saying, is not on increased workers' pay.
No.
What you're saying is that there should be price control. When you have price
not
control,
necessarily only price control. Rather than give out cash, give those things needed. For instance, health services. Provide health services that workers will pay little or nothing for. Make the health insurance scheme work properly. At the moment, I don't know how to describe it.
6% coverage.
I really don't know how to describe the so-called health insurance stuff, because when you have serious issues, you're not covered. And it's just for Panadol and the rest of them. That's what I see about the health insurance thing going on at the moment. So make it better that if you have to do surgery, that, I mean, your insurance covers a whole lot in the surgery. And then make it possible that transportation is augmented. Put money in areas that workers can enjoy their lives, feel happy working, and then that take home they have will then go
Will
towards...
not be meaningful.
Yes. It becomes meaningful.
Now,
that's what makes sense, and that's what I would urge government to look into.
And not to increase.
Not to dollar cash. If you dollar cash, Joe, quote me, in less than a month, inflationary trend will wipe away whatever gains you made in cash.
Point.
Right.
That was what we touched early this morning, and that is a follow-up of that. And you know that it's not really the fact that you need to increase the pay, but what about the market man and market woman? At the end of the day, definitely increase the price of their food, and that will now suck out what has been made available. Now we look at the topic of the day: Cockpit Basic Instrument Part 2. Now let's start.
Yes, Joe, you remember that was 2 Mondays ago when we did Part 1. We discussed the fact that an average cockpit of an average aircraft, no matter how big the aircraft is or how small, you have 6 basic instruments that you need to do. I mean, we're talking about the airspeed indicator, we are talking about the vertical speed indicator, we are talking about the altitude indicator, the altitude. Don't mix them up. Altitude, talking about your height up there in the sky, and then attitude, talking about what kind of position your plane is maintaining. Is it in a banked position? Is it in a pitch down position? Is it in a pitch up position? And that's an indicator that tells the pilot. Because if you rely on how you feel, you will never know, because of lack of relativity up there in the sky. You may be in a pitch down position and you won't even know.
And that can that lead to nose diving?
Oh yes, of course. You can continue to lose altitude, especially in the night. You would not know when you make contact with either water or some objects like trees and stuff like that. You won't ever know. So those are the instruments that guide you. And then you talk about the heading indicator. You talk about the turn coordinator that enables you, make sure you are turning nicely without skidding and slipping. So
what do you mean by that?
What I've just explained to you. Planes do skid in the sky. When you are especially when you're moving and you need to change direction. First of all, in order to adjust for the centrifugal force, I had taught you about centrifugal force. That force that tends to push you away, when you are negotiating a corner, that tends to push you away. Now, you do your banking first of all. I mean, using if you're flying manually, using your joystick and then step on your pedal to activate the rudder, which pushes the tail and then turns you to where you're going. All those must be coordinated. Otherwise, you find yourself slipping or even skidding. And that's what the turn coordinator does for you. But anyway, this is just a review of what we did last week. We've done the first 3, and then in this part 2 we're going to be doing the last 3. I mean, we did the ones that I told you, were controlled by the pitot tube. You remember the pitot tube? Those tubes by the side of cockpit, that's taking air and activate the airspeed indicator, the vertical speed indicator. Right. Now today we are dealing with the ones known as gyroscopic instruments. Remember I taught you about the gyroscope, and use the spinning top that we call okosoi in this country, to tell you about the properties of gyroscope, which number 1 is rigidity in space. It wants to be the way it is for as long as it's rolling round and round, and then precession.
And it never stops spinning.
Yeah, and then precession, which is if it's in a particular position, if you tap it, it comes back to that same position. So those are the reason gyroscopic means get this other set of instruments we're going to be dealing with today to work for you in the airplane and help in flight. So let's see clip 1, please, so that we can run. Here is the next instrument we're going to be looking at, and it is the attitude indicator. Attitude indicator. The attitude indicator, also known as gyro horizon, artificial horizon, or attitude director indicator. It's called that when there is a flight director in the airplane. It's an instrument that informs the pilot of the orientation. I had told you that a moment ago, of the orientation of the aircraft relative to the Earth's horizon. I mean, earlier on, I had explained to you that a pilot, because of lack of relativity, may not know in a banked position, slightly banked or pitched position and stuff like that, except that's a typical attitude used mostly during instrument meteorological conditions, the IMC. It indicates pitch, that is fore and aft tilt. By the time the guy comes back to me, I will show you, what we're talking about, pitch and roll. Now, here you are. Pitch down. Pitch up.
But
roll left, roll right. And then those are the 6-dimensional movements of an aircraft. Yaw left, yaw right. Okay. And those are activated, by different membranes and parts of the, for instance, your roll left and right are activated by the ailerons. You have those piece of plates that move up and down that you have on the wings. And then, of course, your yaw is activated by your rudder that you have right here on the real aircraft. It moves left and right in order to drive the tail. And then, of course, your pitch up, pitch down is carried out by your elevators. Your elevators are those membranes you have at the tip here, moving up and down.
Now, when you pitch up,
and
you're not careful about it, can it lead to stall?
Oh, of course. Joe, you're following, and I'm very thrilled. You're really following. Now, there's something called angle of attack, which you must not exceed a particular angle when you're flying. For instance, if you get yourself as higher than the normal pitch up that you need, this airplane will lose airspeed immediately, very drastically lose airspeed. And what happens? Every fixed wing aircraft has got a minimum speed that keeps it in the air. Once your speed drops below that minimum speed, you stall. Your engines will be working, but the plane just stops flying. You know what it does? It comes down vertically. And as soon as it starts coming down, Joe, there is no end to its drop.
There is nothing the pilot can do.
The only flight chance the pilot has is if he has height advantage. If he's far away in the sky, say about 30, 35, 40,000 feet above sea level, and you run into a stall, maybe some ice blocking kind of sees your elevator into a negative position and put you on a high pitch, and you quickly lose speed and begin to stall and begin to fall out of the sky. If you're able to push full power, pull your stick forward, take a little dive, gain speed, and pull up again, and then you fly out of
That is if the pilot is still conscious.
Yes. Like it happened to the Air France traveling from Brazil to Paris that dropped into the Atlantic. You remember a couple of years back that slaughtered. Oh my God, we're crashing. We're crashing. The man had 3 minutes to do something. 3 minutes in aviation, like 3 light years. If he had focused on what he needed to do professionally, he probably would have rescued the situation. But he was just busy lamenting, because at the point he stepped into the cockpit, his young and inexperienced first officer had mismanaged the situation by pulling and sending the aircraft further into a higher angle of attack.
Getting higher
angle of attack and losing speed. As at the time he stepped into the cockpit, the plane had started dropping vertically off the sky. So if he had been able to put full power, take a little dive, just before he made contact with water, pull level, perhaps he would have had enough speed that would enable him. That is fraught with its own danger, remember? Other airplanes are crisscrossing at various altitudes. Normally, if you would leave your altitude for any other one, you must get permission from the control tower that is controlling the area where you are, so that they check and make sure that you are not at conflict with another aircraft that is on another level. But in such an emergency, you just have to do what you have to do.
It's an emergency.
Yes, it's an emergency. But there's a chance that if you took that dive, you're probably going to cross the path of another airplane that's been allocated an altitude below you. So those are the risks, you know. But anyway, it's come and gone. People lost their lives, but
lessons learned.
And lessons learned. Just like AIB will always tell us, the Accident Investigation Bureau, we are doing this to find out why it happened and make sure it doesn't happen again. Not because we want to hold the pilot responsible or some individual responsible and punish. No, that's not the essence of the AIB investigation. Well, let's see clip 2 so that we can run quickly, because time is usually not our friend on this program. Yeah, components of an average attitude indicator. An average attitude indicator consists of the following components: miniature airplane. This is often represented as horizontal lines with a dot between them, which represent the actual wings and nose of the airplane. And then you have the center horizon bar. This separates the two halves of the display, with the top half usually blue in color, representing the sky, and the bottom half usually brown, representing the earth. Number 3. Bank angle marking degree indices. On an average indicator, this runs along the edge of the die, 0 up to 90 degrees. The aircraft is nose up if the symbolic aircraft is above the horizon line, that is the blue background. But if the symbolic aircraft dot is below the horizon line, that is the brown background, the aircraft is nose down. That's how the pilot knows his attitude as he's moving. Taking a look at that attitude indicator we had seen. Now move to clip 3. Clip 3, please. Yes, that's the heading indicator. This is a flight instrument fondly called HI that informs the pilot of the aircraft's heading. Its older names include directional gyro, that's DG, or directional indicator, DI. Although the primary means of establishing the heading in most aircraft is the magnetic compass, it is, however, susceptible to errors generated by the dip. Dip simply means the downward slope of the Earth's magnetic field. That creates error when you're using that equipment. Now, whenever an aircraft is in a bank or during acceleration or deceleration, dip causes the magnetic compass to read incorrectly. You see why you have to have both the heading indicator and your compass, and the pilot needs to work with two of them, using one to correct the other, because of this disadvantage that has been mentioned, with the heading indicator. Remember, the heading indicator is not your magnetic compass. They are two different things, all right? Yeah. The magnetic compass, therefore, performs well only during unaccelerated, straight and level flight. As a remedy, therefore, the pilot needs to regularly maneuver the airplane with reference to the heading indicator, since it is not affected by dip and acceleration errors. Periodically also, the pilot needs to reset the heading indicator to the heading shown on the magnetic compass. Can you see the symbiotic relationship between the two instruments, and why a very experienced pilot should do the right thing and be on his right heading? Click 4 please, click 4 please. Click 4 please. Yeah, that is the turn coordinator you asked me a moment ago. Now, this is a 2-in-1 flight instrument consisting of turn and bank indicator and then turn coordinator. The first, which is the turn and bank indicator, indicates the rate of turn which in the aircraft's heading. Can you see that? Now, the second instrument, which is the turn coordinator, indicates whether the aircraft is in a coordinated flight, showing the slip or skid of the turn. Now, if you take a look at the instrument and you understand how to read it, it tells if the pilot is taking a bank and moving, if he starts slipping or getting into uncoordinated turn, it shows, and the pilot makes quick adjustment to make sure that he's doing well, and delivering passengers to their destination safely and nicely.
After all, the bottom line is safety.
Safety is the bottom line. Now, an inclinometer, the slip indicator at rest, displays the angle of the aircraft's lateral axis with respect to horizontal, and in motion displays this same angle as modified by the acceleration of the aircraft. So that is the turn coordinator for you. Well, I think we need to look at the next clip, which is five. Yes. So that is a typical turn coordinator. Can you see that left turn? This aircraft that is being used to show, capture was actually in a left bank when it was. You see those marks there. As soon as you leave, the mark, then you are beginning to bank more than you need.
Now it shows that left bank, left turn, right bank, right turn.
That is exactly the whole idea of a turn coordinator. So pilots rely on this a lot, especially when they need to change direction in the sky. Of course, they change quite often, because there's a time a pilot may just be heading to a destination, and suddenly his radar shows him that he has huge turbulence ahead of him, and that's going to make passengers very uncomfortable. Then an experienced pilot, finding that laterally speaking, he doesn't have any aircraft on his side, and he's occupying that altitude with a wide lateral range for him. What does he do? He takes his bank and get off course a little bit, and then avoid that area of turbulence, and then get back on course after the turbulent area, and proceed on his right heading to his destination. This happens quite often in the sky. That's why when you're flying, sometimes you notice the airplane doing this way, and then after a short while, usually in a few seconds, come back again. That's what's going on. That's what's going on. So let's move to
the next clip.
Next clip, because it's a vertical speed indicator, variously known as variometer, rate of climb and descent indicator, RCDI, rate of climb indicator or vertical velocity indicator. The vertical speed indicator, VSI, is one of the flight instruments which informs pilots of the rate of descent or climb of an aircraft in flight. Its calibration depends on the country where the aircraft will be used or the type of aircraft. It can be calibrated in feet per minute, in knots, which is usually 1 knot being equal to 100 feet per minute, or in meters per second, with 1 meter per second being equal to 200 feet per minute. All right? So in flight, the pilot makes frequent use of a vertical speed indicator to confirm that level flight is being maintained, especially when the turn maneuver is being executed. You see that thing I told you a moment ago. The instrument measures the rate of change of altitude by detecting the change in air pressure, that is the static pressure. I taught you this the last time about the fact that as you are going higher into the skies, the air pressure thins out. There's a change in pressure, and this instrument is using those change and having calibrations. Yes. So when installed in powered aircraft, and it's called as altitude changes, it is usually called vertical speed indicator, VSI, when installed in a powered aircraft, and variometer when installed in a glider or sailplane. Quickly, clip 7 please, very quickly, because time is running out. Clip 7 please. That is a typical vertical speed indicator for you. Yeah. My privileged WhatsApp group members have already received all this, and they're going to take their time to take a good look and study.
Quickly, the next clip.
Clip 8, please. This is a trim control. Beautiful, beautiful. I've actually been in a cockpit when this was used, and it's amazing. This works like the cruise control of a car. It helps the pilot maintain a specific control position so that the airplane stays at a particular speed or altitude without making the pilot hold a constant pressure on the controls. While most small aircraft have only one trim tab located on the elevator, larger aircraft usually have trim tabs on all their primary control surfaces, such as the ailerons, rudders, and elevators. Clip 9, please. These are the flaps. We're going to do more about these flaps maybe next week, because it's awesome. It's huge. There are too many types that are in place. This is a device installed in an aircraft to increase the lift of an aircraft wing at a given airspeed. I'm sure you notice that when you're landing, you hear that winding sound. You hear it? Those are flaps being deployed in the fashion you are seeing in those photographs. Look at the left one from underneath. You see the flaps already, fully extended for landing. And then
it's like those flaps reduces the speed.
It helps you sustain the aircraft in the air with lower speed. If, for instance, you have a minimum speed of, say, 200 knots, for a particular size of aircraft, deploying full flaps can make that aircraft fly at 150 knots without falling off the skies. So that's the whole idea. It reduces the minimum speed required
while
to keep
the plane still remains.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, time is our enemy. No time is our enemy. And at this point, we will end the discussion. What are we expecting next week?
Next week, I think we should do different types of flaps. However, I had somebody call in to say you discussed something about best strike, and you made comments that really struck me. Is it possible for you to deal with best strike and show us everything and tell us everything we need to know about the effects of best strike?
While you decide on which one will come up,
either best strike or flag, or different types of flags.
In any case, keep a date with us, same time, same station next week. It has been with the aviation freak himself, Mr. Godwin Ike, and we just finished discussion on Cockpit. Cockpit.
Part 2.
Part 2. Thanks for coming.
Thanks,
Yes.
Joe. My beautiful viewers, please let's do it again next Monday.